Hey, Dennis here with another video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about knowing is manifestation. So in my last video, I was talking about how you can know something beyond the words, beyond what is being explained to you. In this video, I'm going to help clear that up a little bit. Because knowing something is what we call first order. It's fundamental. Knowing is prior to content. So we would call this first order. Second order is all the abstract concepts, ideas you have about something. So we have first order here, the rock bottom. Anything above that, second order, some ideas, concepts, it's creating this layer of things on top of the first order, which means you can't penetrate it. You can't get to it, which means you can't know something with just a bunch of concepts and ideas. In one of my other videos, I was talking about language learning. People, when they're learning a foreign language, they're not learning the language, they're learning about the language. When you learn about something, that's not the thing. So here's another example to illustrate my point. A lot of religious people like to ask, do you believe in God? But the thing is, it's not a matter of yes or no. Because believing something means what? When you believe something, you trust that's the case. You think that's the case. So whether you ask me, do you believe in God? To whether, if I said yes or no, it would be the same. Because to believe something is to not know. If you believe something, you have ideas about, oh, I think there's a God out there. I think that's the case. And of course, you said no, that you don't believe, then it's obvious that you don't know as well. Because the mistake is thinking that it was a matter of believing yes or no, but it never was. Just like I can ask you, if you have two hands here, your two hands, and I asked you, do you believe that you have two hands? You wouldn't say, what? I believe, yeah. I'm not sure, but I believe it's the case. You wouldn't think that. You would just know, like, no, I know I have two hands. It's not a matter of belief. And this is what the problem is with religion and science, is that they try to understand reality through concepts and belief. God is not a belief or a concept. You can experience this directly, as well as all sorts of other things. Belief exists on the second order. Religion doesn't know what God is, and scientists also don't know, because they have an idea of what these things are on the level of second order of belief and concept. No different than if you believe that you have two hands. You don't believe that you have two hands, you know. And that comes through direct experience. Now, how can we make this practical in terms of manifestation? So I'll give you two examples. So the other day, I was watching this video called something like, if you know these 15 words, your English is really good. Something like that. And I knew when I clicked this video, it was meant for people that are learning the English language, non-native speakers. And most of the words are really easy, I thought, because I'm a native speaker, I know those words. But when I got to C2 level, the C2 level, which is the highest in this test, I guess you could say, and there were a few words at the C2 level that I didn't know. And one of the words was a shoe, which means to avoid. And when he was introducing this, the guy in the video, when he was introducing this word, I just didn't know what it was. I never heard that word before. And I checked the comments, and there were other native speakers that said that they didn't know that word, never heard of it. But in the video, when I learned that word, I thought, I know that word. And so the next day, I decided to watch another YouTube video from a different channel. And in this video, very early on in the video, the speaker said the word, a shoe. And when I heard that word, I thought, I just heard that word yesterday. But now I'm aware and I know that word. In the second video I decided to watch that had the word a shoe in it. This wasn't my first time watching this video. I've seen it before, but I didn't notice the word a shoe. Even though, like, yesterday, I just told myself, like, I didn't know that word. I had never heard it before, And then I told myself, I know this word. Next day, it manifested my reality through another video. Another time, years ago, I was invited to Italy by my friend. And at the time, I didn't have any money to go. And he asked me, Dennis, are you going or not? And I decided at that time that I'm going. I go to Italy. Now, you could say that I made a choice, but to me, at the time, there was no decision. To say that I made a decision is to say that there was an option of to go or not to go. But I knew that I know. I go. I just know that I'm going there. I know. There was no other option. So when I decided, things started to change for me. I got ideas of like, oh, I think I'll do this. Inspired action kind of thing. I decided to go back to my old job at the time to get some extra money, and just so happened my old boss at the time, who was now the manager of the store, he was assistant manager before, he just told me, oh, someone just quit. And I realized that was perfect timing. But see, that's how it works. Like, when you just know something is the case, is true, that you're going to Italy or you get that money or whatever it is, a sequence of events happens in your reality to help you, guide you to that thing. Now, when I said that I decided to go to Italy and it happened, the sequence of events of like, oh, I think I'll go back to my old job, the decisions that I seemingly chose, like I, Dennis, am choosing to do this thing. It seemed like I chose to do that thing. Just like when I watched the second video the next day that had the word eschew in it, it seemed like I'm going to watch this video. And it just happened to have the word eschew. This process is intelligently designed. When you decide something, you just know. There's no worry, because you'll get the thing that you've been seeking, because it knows, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, your higher self, it knows before you even asked. It knows before you even decided. It's that intelligent. Now, going back to what I was saying about believing in God, to know, it's beyond concept. It's not a belief. It's not a matter of, do you believe in God? Yes or no? To even ask that question is to get off on the wrong foot, because it's not a matter of believing. It's about knowing. Knowing comes prior to concept. It's first order. Second order is all the ideas, things, and abstract things about something that you think is the case or is something. And this is really what the problem is with religion and science, is that they try to think they know something on a matter of concept or belief. God, do you believe in God? Yes or no? It's not a matter of belief. Because we can also say that most religious people do not know what the false self is. Never had experience of ego death. The false self, they don't know what that is. But they believe in God. Now you can think of this as stages. Because first there's realizing that you can know that the false self is not real. This self here is total illusion. You have that realization. Now sometime after, you could have the realization that God is real. Yes, God is real. It's true. There's something beyond you. And then you think, yeah, it's pretty amazing. But then you go higher to another level of awareness. Not only is there a God, not only is the universe intelligent, super intelligent, infinitely intelligent. This is you. God is you. The universe is you. It's all you. All these things that happen is you. Dennis, the person that you're watching this video, is you. This video was not recorded in the past. It's being created right now. The only time it ever could be. And you would think, well, where's the logic in that? But see, logic is another concept. It's okay to let it all go. God isn't bound by logic or your ideas about what God is or the universe is, or whether you believe it or not. It's not a matter of belief. It's about knowing. And to know this is to know you, what you are, the true self. Because see, it's not about outsourcing this knowing to someone else, like religion, and that they can tell you the answers. Or even science. And the kind of attitude that people have about science to know the universe is kind of like this. I wish scientists could tell me if Bigfoot was real or not. I wish they could just discover it. Then I'll know, they can tell me. But see, that's no different than outsourcing your knowing to religion. Because religion and science is this consciousness in the dream of God, in the mind of God, which is you. All of this right now. If you realize that, then you know. But see, if I were to tell you about this, which I'm doing in this video, then that's a concept. It's a matter of concepts. No different than if I were to teach you a language, about the language, you think, yeah, I know the language. But that's not the language, that's just some concepts and ideas about the language. Just like I could learn the word a shoe, and I say, I know that word. It took one moment of time, and I knew it. I just knew. I didn't have to write it down 100 times. Like, you know, when you're learning a foreign language, people have to do these, or they say that you have to write these words so many times. And then you forget. It's like, well, I didn't learn that word. You just, you're trying to get it in your mind. It only takes the one time. The one meditation. It takes the one time, and you know. And this knowing can't be communicated through words and concepts. Like I was telling you in my last video, I was saying there's something being communicated beyond the words. There's something being communicated beyond the words that can't be communicated. But people try this. They try to write these things in books, which is called the Bible, the Quran, or whatever. But they ultimately can't be communicated. But you think they can if I just write these words. And that words, if we think about language, like I said in my last video, it's just a bunch of lines. And what are lines anyway? And this is what philosophy is. Ask yourself, what is a line? Right? Now, I'm not playing word games with you here. If you ask yourself what these things are, you can know. Like language at a meta level, like meta language. You have a bunch of lines. And like I said, if you arrange these lines in a certain order, you get letters. And if you arrange these letters in a certain order, you get words. If you arrange these words in a certain order, you get sentences. You can just read this and understand. See, do you see how intelligent this process is? People think you can just write something down, like I can just have this insight into the universe. And I can just take this insight and write it down in a book. Or I can tell you in a video, which I'm trying to do. And then, oh yeah, I instantly know what God is. Or anything, or any kind of insight. But see, it doesn't work that way. And I'm telling you this because people make the mistake of thinking they know something. But knowing something isn't just knowing it on the matter of concept. It's direct experience. So direct that you cannot tell anybody. If you sat and did philosophy, and to the extent that anyone thinks I'm spiritual, it's because I've done enough philosophy that it led me to this, to what, any kind of spiritual thing that I do. And, if you have an idea about spirituality, no matter concept, or what you think I do or am, then that's an illusion. Because it's the best word, I guess you can say it, is to describe it, to give someone an idea of what it is. And that's all we got as humans, really, is a bunch of words, ideas, metaphors, or some kind of thing that we can use to grasp the first order, which is consciousness, which is being, which is you. This is knowing. So if you want to know something, you have to tell yourself that you do know. Because you do when you forgot. The true self, which is God, which is you, it already knows everything. It already knows. So when you say, I am, then whatever you want to be, you become that. You just know. That's what I am. When I told myself that I know that word, a shoe, I know it. I learned that word instantly. The next day, it manifested in my reality. Everything is already here, right now, in some form or another. Knowing something isn't about trying to brainwash yourself into knowing. Writing down a manifestation technique so many times. It's about reminding yourself that you just already know. But then you would say, like, yeah, but I don't know. Your true self, ultimately, it already knows. You just have to let go of the things that you think you know. Concepts and ideas. These things are, all they are, here's a metaphor for you. And I think metaphors are really good to explain reality. Concepts and these ideas that we use to understand things, it's nothing but scaffolding. Like when you build a building, there's scaffolding, right? But you needed something to build the building. But when the building's complete, you don't need the scaffolding anymore. You can get rid of it. So these ideas, the thinking, the concepts serve the purpose. But you don't need to be stuck there at the level of concept. Just know what something is through direct experience. Alright, so I hope this video cleared some things up. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.